Thank you so much. Now, moving right along, we are deeply honored to have in our midst the Dean of the Congressional Black Caucus. That's right, the Dean of the Congressional Black Caucus. One of the most fierce freedom fighters that we have known in the last generation. He hails from the city of Detroit, a lawyer who decided that he would not be a corporate lawyer, but that he would lend his voice. In the words of Amilcar Cabral, he would return to the source to help liberate his people and suffering humanity. He is without doubt one of the leading progressive voices of our time, one of the voices that gave vent to and asked the aspiration of making the Martin Luther King holiday a national holiday. He would not surrender in terms of pressing that task. And of course, whether it's healthcare, whether it is economic development and jobs, you name the progressive issue in terms of suffering humanity, and you will see written all over it the name of the Honorable John Conyers, ranking member of the House Judiciary Committee, and also someone we love because he has never, ever relented on representing each and every year H.R. 40, the reparations study bill, to say that people of African descent deserve to have this issue. So would you now please give a warm welcome to the chairman, the Honorable John Conyers.
Good evening, brothers and sisters. It is with great humbleness and proud spirit that I join you at this great church, this great historic church. And I am reminded that its senior pastor, Dr. Ronald Braxton, said something that struck me. I didn't know I was going to repeat it again so soon. But he said, we are here on a global mission, that we have a global perspective. Sure, things are rough in Detroit and in Washington, D.C., and in many, many other places. But the fact of the matter is that the struggle is not just local, it is global. And it's in that spirit that I am so proud to join you today. It has been remarked that I'm so busy that it's amazing that I could be here tonight. But you know, my life has, of several decades, 4 to be exact, in the Congress, I go where I am felt to be needed the most. And so tonight, I feel I should be with you, and that's where I ought to be, and that's where you ought to be. And so it's in that spirit that I join you. Now, as you know, I am the author of the Dr. Martin Luther King holiday bill. I introduced that bill several days after his assassination, and it took 15 years for it to be passed in the Congress. And I want you to get the feeling that the spirit of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is with us tonight as we enjoy each other's company, as we plan strategy, as we listen to the great remarks of everyone. It's in that spirit that I join you in a continuing struggle for jobs, for justice, and for peace. Now, the jobs and the peace are clear, and the justice is pretty clear, but I want to make it clear. When I say justice, I'm talking about political justice, and economic justice. The two are very different. And some people give you a little bit of one and none of the other and expect you to be happy about it, and we just call it justice, right on. No. We want political and economic justice. And isn't it amazing that the forces that are against political justice are in some states coming up with ID laws and are fighting same-day registration and want people to have official ID, and they want to have a smaller early voting window. In other words, it's very clear, make voting as difficult and as unpopular and unpleasant as possible. And yet, what do we represent? We want to make voting as pleasant, as easy, as convenient as possible. And there's a reason that some people would not want everybody to vote. If you were in the Tea Party, you wouldn't want everybody to be voting. If you were against the principles that bring us together under Dr. Ron Daniels, the president of the Black World 21st Century, you would want to make jobs and full employment something that everybody should have. Isn't it curious to you, as it is to me, that the greatest, most powerful economy in the world, the wealthiest, most militarily powerful, can't find jobs for everybody in this country? We ought to have full employment. We ought to have more jobs than there are people, not more people than there are jobs. And that's what we want. Everybody with a job. Think of how many young people get off to the wrong start because they don't have a job. If they don't have a job, they don't have any money. If they don't have any money, they're liable to do something impulsively and perhaps not legal, and there we go. Our prisons are overflowing. You know, Dr. Daniels, we incarcerate more of our citizens proportionally than any other nation in the world. Mandatory minimums, drug problems, anything that we can use. Then we find the National Security Agency, the NSA, they've got records on all of us. You think you're worried about me being observed. You're being observed yourself. They've got the names and the phone numbers of everybody and the calls that were made. They have these records. We just found that out. And boy, when somebody leaks that out, they're all looking for them. And so we don't want to become a surveillance state. We want a democracy. We want First Amendment rights. And it's in that spirit that I am here to join you, to tell you that my first priority is to make sure that our great president, Barack Obama, remembers that jobs are our first goal. We want to put everybody to work right away, not theoretically. And look at all the things that we need to be doing. There is so much, our infrastructure, our roads, our schools, our buildings, everything needs help. We need we need to turn away from the military. And we're spending more and more money on a military budget and less money on educating our young people and creating employment opportunity for adults. So join me in this struggle. And that's why I am here, to let everybody know that this is an important coming together because we have the Honorable Dr. Ralph Gonzalez, the Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the Vice Chairman of CARICOM, here with us to work on what? Reparations. Reparations. I introduced a reparations bill, I think it was in 1989, creating a responsibility for us to make some kind of settlement against the ugliest, most terrible system of misusing people that can be conceived. Slavery, enslavement. We don't want just an apology. We finally got an apology, but that's not what it's about. We want to make up for all the opportunities that have been missed and are still being missed. Look, unemployment in America, there's two sets of unemployment figures. The African American unemployment rate and everybody else's. Guess what? Ours is twice as high as the official rate that you may read about in the Washington Post and New York Times. So I join you in this struggle for justice, for peace, for jobs, for everybody, not just ourselves. You know, it's not funny, but one of the curious things is a lot of white people get some of the discrimination that was intended for us. We keep finding some of them aren't in good shape either. But there's a great study, a great emphasis on keeping us separated. They don't want working class people to get together. And thank God for Dr. Ron Daniels and this great organization now lifting its hand out for CARICOM and for all of those islands and nations that have been so long neglected. We're coming together. Thanks, Ron, for bringing us together to examine reparations. Thank you very much.